Wherefore, Series 2, Episode 35. I can honestly say I have never really understood the Wizard Whitminster. What makes her tick? She's all about the money, but she isn't your regular capitalist. She's too interested in the local economy for that. It is the flow of money she works with, so people accumulating great stashes of it infuriate her, because they are damming the flow so there's less to go round. What about the rest of her life? She's incredibly hard to read. What does she love? Who does she love? I can't tell. She has woven herself so tightly that nothing of her inner self can be seen. It is quite an achievement. She likes shiny shoes, this is evident. Her shoes are always immaculate and polished. Often they are sensible shoes, as is the case right now. She is pretending to read the sub-room's posters while watching the cafe opposite. All her clothing has an understated, classy, expensive look to it. All of it has been handmade to her specifications, apart from the shoes. She likes high quality and enjoys spending money. This still tells us nothing about her inner life. She is impatient today and keeps checking the time on her phone. Sroud is quiet and no one is watching her. Well, only me, but that's different. She looks furtive, like someone who is trying a little too hard to be casual, and really the posters are not that interesting for her continued study of them to seem plausible at any rate. The impatience starts to look more like irritation shading into anger. It's there in the jut of her chin and the way she moves across the forecourt. Now she seems to be studying properties in the estate agent's window. Really, she is watching the reflection of the street behind her. She is waiting for Simon. It is harder now the cafe is closed again. She cannot simply sit there like a customer, and in the current conditions, standing around outside would look odd. Oddness draws attention. There could so easily be a spy amongst the passing flocks of pigeons. Anyone in the street might be another wizard's puppet. Whitminster isn't much worried about the machinations of Sroud wizards. These are familiar enmities, safe, comfortable, and rather like having a hobby. She worries about Gloucester wizards who have already managed to force an unwanted incinerator onto her turf. This is not especially deep insight into her. She has said as much to the other Sroud wizards. 10 minutes pass. Simon has not been late before. He's a punctual, reliable sort of chap. At this point, Simon is 20 minutes late, and Whitminster is running out of things to pretend to be doing. She is no closer to identifying who or what is running him and his app from the council offices in Ebley. They are very good at covering their tracks, and she has to be careful not to attract their attention. Whitminster knows Simon's absence could mean that his manager in Ebley is onto her. She is mildly concerned for Simon's well-being and increasingly concerned for her own. Once Simon is 30 minutes late, Whitminster concedes that he isn't going to make it to the rendezvous. She wanders around town for a while, looking mournfully into the windows of shops closed by the recent lockdown and shops that are entirely empty. It makes her sad. She will deal with this in the short term by writing to her MP about universal basic income again. Make the money flow. Let it wash in happy currents from one hand to another. There will be no meaningful response from the MP. Whitminster has a low opinion of MPs in general, and an exceedingly low opinion of this one specifically. People whose principles she disagrees with are usually preferable to people with no principles, who may be blown in any direction by those more powerful than they. And finally, Whitminster reveals a few threads of intention that give away a little of what goes on inside her mind. There is a prehistoric bison itching itself on the post boxes outside Greg's. This sort of thing is so normal now that Whitminster barely gives it a second glance. She is perfectly aware that the incompetent, arrogant Tim is responsible. She will never forgive Winklepicker for bringing him in as one of the 7. She is also cross with herself for not having planned far enough ahead to pick out her own replacement for Amagin. Whitminster is not a chess player by nature and can only think a few moves ahead at the best of times. She relies on only making moves that do not suggest an intended trajectory and are thus hard to outplay. There are threads coming off her in all directions as she does her rounds of the economic heart of Sroud. She is angry and upset, and this opens up the tight weave of herself, making it easier to peer inside. She really is worried about Simon and the uncannily unavailable non-existent council department he's been working for. She is also deeply concerned about Simon's data on the threadbare nature of reality itself, and she does not know what to do about it. Looking into her in this way is uncomfortable for me. She knows what I know. Her awareness highlights my own inaction. I did not want to risk drawing attention my way from whatever or whoever was running Simon. Clearly what happens at Ebley is important. The odds are that I could go and have a look without exposing myself to any great danger. I could find a way in. I have responsibilities. Looking into Whitminster's heart and mind makes me see what I've not been doing. How much I've let my own weariness as much as my fear get in the way of taking action. This is uncomfortable. Also, I really don't like the way Whitminster is unravelling right now. She's usually so tight and careful and closed. I could choose to do nothing, watching from the safe distance stories allow their narrators. I am better than this. I step out of the shadows and walk up to her, calling her given name, not her chosen one. She turns, half recognising me. She would have seen me around. I'm part of the fabric of Sroud in all sorts of ways. Hello, she says, clearly trying to place me. I catch her hands in mine and look her in the eyes. I have my hood up, but there is enough daylight to show the gist of my face. I let her find me familiar. She wants to ask who I am, and in those seconds of hesitation I pull the unravelling threads of her self-protection and wrap them tightly around her again. It is not an elegant piece of work, but I give her back her privacy and mystery. Her eyes widen. She knows exactly what I've done, and she will figure out exactly what that makes me. Usually, or at least usually in the past, when I've messed with people, I've finished off with a small tweak so they would forget me. I'm tired. I'm bored. I don't much like who I've become and what I've been doing. I let her remember me and know. I can feel in the texture of the weave that this is an important choice, although it's not clear how it will play out. I'll deal with the Ebley problem, I tell her. Also, Simon's fine, he's gone to Ditchley yet. Who the hell are you? Whitminster asks, backing away from me slightly. I have a moment. I am the watcher in the shadows. I am the weaver of stories and the mender of threads. And with this rather self-indulgent speech out of my system, I simply wrap the mantle of the town around me and disappear behind it, leaving her swearing under her breath at the apparently empty street. I'm wondering what, if anything, she should say about this to the other wizards.